podcast where it's a little quiet, maybe too quiet. I Usually these episodes, of course, start with some music, but of course, this is where our guests for today's episode come in. We've got Nick and Andy from Hi Dad Soup,
Hey,
and
what's going on?
thanks guys for being here. So if you wanted to take a quick second, say hello, we'll
Hey,
get started.
we're
Being
stoked to be
real,
here.
I have a ridiculous echo in my ears right now, and I'm trying to fix it. So, y'all do your thing for one
Those
second.
technical issues. What's going on, Maz? We're super happy to be here, man.
I'm glad that you were able to join. I'm really excited for this. This is something that I've been teasing for a little while because I've been super excited about it, and I'm kind of leaving some people in suspense here, and I apologize for that. But I'm yeah. Look, I'm so excited that I just want to tease it just a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
we know something you don't know.
so, so yeah, Nick has obviously been on the podcast before with the
I
Disney
have.
Dudes episode we did,
That was
and
so fun.
Andy, who is currently off screen at the moment, fixing his technical issues. I guess I'll wait until he can hear me to congratulate
That's a
him.
live show, man.
But he's a newcomer, but he's also going to be part of our Disney Dads episode, which is going to be coming up next week. And so I wanted to congratulate him once again for a new addition to his family.
Thanks, man. Can y'all hear me? Okay, I can hear y'all.
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, all right.
Were y'all
good.
talking about? Yes, just had a baby. I didn't have a baby. My wife did last week. She's a week old today. We're super pumped, man. Thanks for the congrats, and on Instagram too. That means a lot.
Of course. So, of course, I am a dad myself, and my daughter Megan has really taken to the podcast thing. And so we now have a segment. She's also a big joke teller. I've told people in the past that she actually has had in the past this running text chain with my father-in-law where they trade texts back or trade jokes back and forth. Usually the cornier, the better. So
Love it.
we have, and she's also being 7, as she likes to describe herself, cuckoo bananas. So every week we have the Megan's cuckoo bananas joke of the week. So
Love
if you'll indulge me, we're going to go right ahead with this week's joke.
Yay, Megan.
And now it's time for Megan's.
Cuckoo bananas, joke.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Do you have a joke for us today?
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Nobody can ever win this bet.
What?
Nobody can ever win this bet.
What bet?
The alphabet.
Ah,
That's good.
Boom.
Cuckoo banana joke. I need no.
Okay.
Cuckoo bananas joke. I need Cuckoo bananas joke. I need
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was funny.
She's 7.
She's 7. She fancies herself a comic and apparently a musician. It seems with the amount of damage she's done to our house that maybe percussion is the way that she's going to go. But...
Yeah, man.
All
Well,
right.
I teach elementary school. I may have to steal her joke because they will like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what grade do you teach? My wife's a teacher too.
I teach 3rd grade. Actually, as of next year, I'll be teaching 5th grade. So.
Oh, yeah, my wife
Moving on
teaches
up.
5th grade.
Oh, there we
yeah.
go.
Yep.
I have to trade
Very nice.
some trade secrets.
we'll trade. You guys can trade some teaching secrets, and then when you get back from your Disneyland trip, you'll have to share some Disneyland secrets as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So, all right, let's get into it. If you guys want to, I'll give you guys the floor here a little bit so that you can introduce yourselves and what you guys are all about, both with Hi Dad Soup. By the way, I'm probably going to be deducted a Disney fan card here because I really didn't understand the origins.
The reference. That's okay.
Do you now? Do you now understand?
Did you
them?
figure it out?
I did.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Nick, and I host the Mickey and Minutes podcast. Andy, is my co-host, and I started this podcast back in 2017, and yeah, just been doing it for a long time. And then last year, I brought Andy on the show to be my co-host on the podcast. But we're here to talk about Hi Dad Soup, and Hi Dad Soup is a project that we started last year, and it's basically our Disney cover band. And
Like the big thing to note is, yes, Hi Dad Soup is our Disney cover band, but like Nick and I have been friends for like a decade. Our wives were friends in high school growing up, and then when Nick's wife met Nick, we went to Payway. We had a really awesome double date, and
Payway,
I
yeah.
realized that Nick plays drums and I play guitar and sing. And so we just play music. In the end, Nick and I are musicians, and we've just been playing music nonstop and coming up with different excuses to make music for like 10 years. And Hi Dad Soup is a big one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a little bit more into the to our story with music and the podcast and stuff in a little bit. But basically, it's just like you said, another way for us to play music together. And then Mazza reached out to us for something really awesome that we're going to talk about now. And yeah, to you, Mazza.
So knowing about having listened to the podcast for a while and seeing Hi Dad Soup becoming a thing, I reached out and was just like, hey, I'm looking to kind of spice up my intro and outro music, the kind of the theme music for the show. I was looking for something that had a little more character to it, a little more juice. And so I reached out to these guys and was just like, hey, what do you think about this? And they were on board. They've been great about it. And I got to tell you, before we get into this, before we actually unveil it, when I first got the email and downloaded it, I probably listened to it 40 times consecutively because I was that stoked about it.
It rocks, dude.
It does. It really does. So I can talk about it as much as I want, but I won't leave people in suspense anymore. So let's hope that when I press this button, something actually happens, and you will hear the new Maz's Musings podcast music brought to you by Hi Dad Soup. That's awesome.
That sounds so good.
All right, 39 more times. Let's go.
Let's do it, man. Yeah. Roll it back. Roll it back.
Oh man, I will. Don't tempt me.
Fingers on the trigger, man.
No, man. Seriously, this was awesome. You guys, I mean, no notes. This was awesome. Thank you guys for doing this for me. It was super cool, and it's really part of. I've been really excited because I'm kind of rebranding a little bit overall, and I'm hoping I can share something else with you right now.
Yeah.
There's going to be a new logo that's going to go along with this. And I think that they play off each other pretty well. So let's see if I can actually share my screen here and make it so that you can see it. Let's see.
Very nice, man. Let's see.
Let's see if this works. You guys seeing what I'm seeing?
Oh yeah, dude. I like that.
Dude,
it's a little bit. It's a little bit generous with the hair on top and with how nice the beard looks, but I'm okay with that. So
I like that. I see the falcon, some beer there. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
this is really good. This is perfect. Love the rebrand. I'm down with it.
Dude, love it. Yes, happy to be a part of it.
Looking for something a little more.
Yes, and happy
fun,
to be a part of the rebrand.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, I love. I love when I'm able to collaborate with other people like this. I think that's great. So I'm also a big craft beer fan. I actually brew a little bit myself, and
Cool.
I've always found that there's a great supportive community in that. And I'm still fairly new to podcasting. I truthfully, probably about a year and a half ago, I hadn't listened to more than 1 or 2 episodes of a podcast, period. and I'm finding that same cool, really supportive kind of community out there among podcasters. It's just
fun, man.
cool
In the
people
end, it's
trying to
fun,
do
and
cool
that's what it's all
things.
about. It's just having fun with whatever topic you're trying to discuss in your pod.
Yeah, and that's what the best thing about being a podcaster is that we get to talk to other podcasters as well and share our love for different topics. And one thing in particular, the Disney community especially is just so like welcoming and awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's where we found you. Like that's where we met you, through the Disney community,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about the Hi Dad Soup product, process and everything. But really, I think that goes back a little bit further to you guys as musicians and artists. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you got into music and what your backgrounds are. Like, did you start with my wife plays trumpet, so she had really a traditional kind of upbringing with it. Her mom's big into marching band and marches and things like that. So
you're basically asking for a musical origin story.
Musical origin story, and what some of your influence has been and how things have changed for you over the years.
Sure, absolutely. I shared a tiny bit about this on the last time when I was on the Disney Dudes episode on your show. And so basically, I've been a Disney fan and a musician for pretty much my whole life. Disney fan a little bit longer, right? Since I was born. When I was 12 years old, at that point in my life, I realized I've been terrible at every single sport I've ever played. Right? And my parents were putting me in soccer and baseball and all the things, and I couldn't do it. And so I was about 12 years old, and I got really into Metallica, and I was like, man, I want to play drums, And so my 12th birthday, my parents got me a drum set, and I think I rocked the house. They kept on closing the door on me. So, but yeah. And so then I just started. My first band was a Metallica cover band, and we were called Infinite Circle, which is hilarious because it doesn't mean anything. Most band names don't mean anything. And so, but I started getting really into a little band called Blink-182, and that just changed everything about how I looked at music, how I listened to music. I just became a pop punk kid through and through. And so the rest of my life, really up until now, I've been in pop punk bands. And even when I was in college, I was in a band called Sucker Punch, and we put out a couple records, and we toured and did the whole music thing, and it was awesome. Touring was crazy, living in a van and sleeping on floors, and it was an awesome time in my life. And it was right after that I got into podcasting because I was a Disney fan this entire time, and I was the guy on the tour bus, or on the bus. I wish it was a bus, on the van, in the tour van, listening to Disney podcasts, while we were just going from venue to venue. And when I got back from tour and I became a teacher, I graduated college, and I was like, I'm going to pause music for a little bit and start focusing on podcasting. And that's how Mickey and Minutes was born. I got married, and around the same time that I met my wife, I met Andrew. And, then, we'll talk a little bit about our musical journey together after Andrew shares how he got to where we are now.
Yeah,
that's pretty much my story.
Very similar to Nick, dude. Not into sports growing up, but it was always into guitar. I started playing guitar when I was in 3rd grade and loved it. Really liked anything with a string on it. Loved to sing too. I was just like the happy, goofy kid that loved to sing and dance, right? Shocker, I'm sure. And so then once going into high school, I was in the choirs, and in high school I played like the local Nick and I are from San Antonio, and we both played like the local San Antonio scene. I was also in a pop punk band. Nick and I saw Blink-182 together too last year, which was oh man, probably one of the highlight of our bro lives,
friendship, our bro time,
our friendship lives. It was
quite
a monumental day.
Yeah. I don't think I mentioned what I play. I play drums. You said strings.
Yeah, Nick plays drums.
I don't think I ever said that this entire time. I'm a drummer, and in most of the projects I've been in, I've played drums. And yeah, you said we played shows together, and it was just funny because before we ever knew each other, we were playing in the same
shows.
Same shows,
same venues. We were in the same scene together and didn't even know it.
I'm
So,
sure
yeah.
if we dug, we can find a bunch of flyers with both of our bands on it, which is really fun.
It was great. So then after high school, I went to college in Washington State. I went to Gonzaga, and there, man, I learned the banjo, and from then on, it was all banjo, man. Like, oh God, I love the banjo. You cannot be in a bad mood when you're listening to the banjo.
So from a pop punk kid to a bluegrass kid.
Yeah, right. Like, but with that in college, I still maintained my rock roots. I was in a band called Little Bighorn. We were the at Gonzaga, there's not a whole lot of it's not a big school, so there's like one of everything. There was one band, there was one this. So we were the party band. We were the house party band. And so
nice.
Nick's going on tour was me going from house party to house party every weekend.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Some of our shows on tour were actually house
basically
parties.
college
I'm just
house
gonna
parties.
say, yeah, that's basically what we did. Yeah.
The most famous I've ever felt was like going to the cafeteria the next morning and hearing these people be like, "Oh my God, did you hear the band that was like 304 Cinto last night? Like those guys rocked," and just like eating my Cocoa Puffs and just nodding to myself. And, oh, it was a good day. Anyways, but from that, I sang in the college a cappella group, right? Just music and strings and everything was always something, was my passion.
Yeah.
It was more than a hobby. Guitar and singing were a passion. And then literally once I met Nick, every guitarist needs a drummer, and it just like literally every musical project I've been a part of in the last 10 years, Nick has been my drummer. Like, just definitively.
And it's funny because when we first met at Payway, like you said, they are not a sponsor.
We go there a lot.
Got a name drop. Yeah. And so one of the first things we talked about was like, hey, you were in a band, I was in a band. We started realizing we played so many like shows together. And so when we started just kind of jamming, but it was funny because like I was like, oh, I'm a pop punk kid, and he was like, oh, I'm really into like banjo and bluegrass, and so but somehow that peanut butter chocolate thing, like it worked, and so like we honestly like we became best friends like super fast, and so like he was in my wedding, I was in his wedding, and it just
all the things.
This whole time I was doing Mickey in Minutes. I like to think that Andy was a fan.
I was
maybe.
I listened to every episode.
There you go. All right, cool.
This was when Nick was doing Mickey in Minutes solo. It was just Nick. So Nick, you did it for like what, 5-6 years solo?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, about 5 or 6 years solo. Took a couple of breaks here and there.
And
around the pandemic,
while Nick was doing this, we're like we were just friends and like on the side. So we would like, and our wives are insanely close. So Nick would come over, I would go over to his house, we'd have game nights, and all the while we're just talking like, dude, when are we gonna do our Disney covers? Dude, when are we
because we would like, go to like the other room and like just kind of start jamming, playing music,
and talk about, and we're talking about Disney, we're already podcasting just offline.
And so wait, Andy, you skipped a step. And so we ended up being in a band together for a while. So
yes.
we started a cover band, like just your typical bar band, except we were like a folksy, bluegrassy bar band.
It was folk covers of 90s rock songs.
That's
so like
the
Mr.
most niche thing you could think of.
It was awesome, man. We were very good. We were very good.
We were called Folksmith, and we played for a long time together, a couple of years, right? And we would just play around town, and a little bit out of town, I guess, a couple out of town shows. And
we had the first Friday gig at a pizza joint. So literally the first Friday of every month, we played, and it was a great time. We played. So we started doing Disney covers. We did at
the show on the stage. Yeah, we did.
Right.
You Got a Friend in Me.
We did
Oodalali. We did Oodalali.
We did Oodalali. Was that it?
Maybe. But yeah. So
we probably did some more.
So there were a bunch of other people in the band, but like Andy and I were just kind of the ones who were always like working on the songs and writing songs.
It was our arrangements.
We were always talking about
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, we were always talking about Disney covers, and so then. The podcast had been, I stopped it for about 2 years. The podcast was, on a hiatus. And then I was thinking about bringing it back and rebranding like you're doing now with your show. And so part of my rebrand, the new logo and all that stuff. And I was like, man, I need a co-host. I need someone that I could banter with, someone that I could have a good time with. So obviously the first choice was Andy. And so, I called him up, or I don't even know if I called you, or we were at your house or whatever. And I just asked
we went to your house. We went to your house for a game night.
Oh, for
I
game night. Yeah.
specifically remember even too like how we were like oriented at at the dinner table.
It was a defining moment in his life.
It was a defining moment.
I changed his life forever. No,
Yeah, man.
And so I asked him, and so we did it. And our first episode that we did as the rebranded Mickey and Minutes was about Disney covers. Because again, we were just so obsessed with Disney covers and how so many great bands do such a great job of covering songs. Like,
and it was
it was
a slam dunk topic too, right?
It
like
was.
for your first podcast for us, like just getting our flow, our banter back and forth. When do you talk? When do I talk? When
and
do I know
learning
Nick?
it.
Just I know Nick well enough. He's gonna stop talking now, right? Like,
and I
that
will
kind of
say
stuff.
that was actually the second episode because the first one was a disaster.
So bad. Chris,
so-
it was so bad, man. Our first episode was a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever want to release that.
I want to release it. Nick.
You're not the one who edits the show, Andrew.
That's fair. That just
It's
uncut
really
it, man.
bad.
Release it. Just release the Lazaga cut.
The lasagna, yeah, the Snyder cut. And so, yeah, that was the first topic. We talked about our top favorite Disney covers, and then we revisited the topic, a little while later with another buddy of ours, a guy who was in one of my former bands, and again, it was just this topic of Disney covers, and we're like, you know what? We're both musicians. We both have the capability to record music. Why don't we just do it? And so we did, and actually I didn't even mention the part of our rebrand was the new intro for Mickey and Minutes was ours. We wrote that together and everything. And I say new, it's like 2 years old now, but for us at the time it was new. And so then we were like, well, what should be our first Hi Dad Soup song? So yeah, we came up with the name Hi Dad Soup, which Mazza, you figured it out. Do you want to tell everybody what Hi Dad Soup means?
No,
I'm don't put
me on the spot like that. Let's because if I screw it up, I don't want to. I'll just nod and say, yep, that's what
you say. I knew that. I knew that.
Yeah, that's what I knew that.
So Hi Dad Soup is a reference to one of our favorite movies, a Goofy movie. Where
I knew that.
You got it. I knew you knew that.
So proud of you, Chris.
Yeah, and so it's the scene where they're in the car and they're trying to hide from Bigfoot, and they have the can of alphabet soup, and Hi Dad Soup. And I honestly, that name I always had that like in my, in the back burner, like this would be a great band name. And I've held on to that forever, for years and years.
For that special occasion, Nick.
Yeah, I always thought it'd be
Hi
like
Dad Soup will rise from the ashes.
Exactly. I always thought it would be like a random pop punk.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be a random pop punk band that I was in, but it just the idea, we were talking about a cover band. And so it was like, oh, well, what about this band name, Hi Dad Soup? And so the band is just the two of us. We do all the instruments together and all the vocals together. And Andrew, you want to talk about what our first cover was? Do you remember? Do you really forget?
He's like, maybe.
It's like, because I know what my. I'm gonna go with
the one that we recorded. Oh my goodness, Andrew.
Wait, because we also just do some the acoustic sessions.
We do reels. We do a lot of reels on our Instagram. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so not
the
our
reels,
first non-reel.
The actual recording.
Go the distance from Hercules. Yeah,
I knew that too.
Oh, good.
Really fun. That was fun thing to record.
Because I love pop punk and Andrew loves folk music, and so for our recordings we've been doing pop punk covers, and for the reels that we've been putting out on Instagram, we've been doing folksy covers, and so we decided to
record. We've been kind of going back and forth because like we did our other folk cover of Muppets for Christmas, and that was another official record. I mean, we got for our Hi Dads, it kind of goes back and forth.
That one was great. I really love that one because on top of everything else, that movie is, it's spectacular. No notes on that movie for me. When I heard your cover of that song, I was just like, oh man, this hits it just right.
Thank you. Yeah, it's One More Sleep Till Christmas. We recorded that song for our big Christmas episode. It was our season finale of the last season of season 6.
Spectacular.
And it was the first annual Mickey and Minutes Christmas Spectacular. Yeah, so we did it for that, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun episode, and the song being in there, that's my favorite song from literally one of my favorite movies, and so it's just like, oh, chef's kiss, guys, chef's kiss.
Dude, thank you. And yeah, so you can listen to that one and our Go the Distance cover on our SoundCloud page. You look up Hi Dad Soup on SoundCloud, or if you go to mickeyandminutes.weebly.com, you can find the link to our SoundCloud page on there. And we actually have another cover, a new cover we've been working on for a while that we're really, really stoked on. We're going to drop it on June 20th, and it's a cover of Standout from a Goofy movie. You know, Hi Dad Soup. We have to do a Goofy movie cover. Also, it's a big anniversary
but
for that
Eye
movie.
from Goofy movie is so overdone. Like everyone
Oh,
does
yeah.
Eye to Eye. And
That
so,
was
but I mean, but
kind
it
of our
needs
thought,
to
yeah.
be a Powerline song. It still needs to be
Of
Powerline.
course.
Opening song stand out. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, so we have an episode, podcast episode dropping on June 20th. It'll be tied to that one, so exclusively on the podcast for a while. So check out that episode when it comes out to hear that song.
I can honestly admit I'm secure enough to admit that I have never seen a Goofy movie all the way through.
Man, you got to do it. This is an anniversary year for that movie. Now's the time to watch it.
Well,
We're,
listening to you guys had an episode recently where you talked about it in the
Yeah.
anniversary, and just like the enthusiasm that you guys have for that movie, it's just like, okay, I've been missing something here.
Dude,
so
it's
I
a
definitely
really
need
good
to go
movie.
back
Like
and-
it's a really underrated movie. And like when re-listen to our pod about it, get pumped for it to watch it. Man, honestly, a core memory that I made is on our Disney cruise that we went on over Christmas. They were playing a Goofy movie on the main deck on like the giant Megatron,
Mhm.
and there was nobody there, and it was nice and cool outside, and it was middle of the night, and we were just watching a Goofy movie like outside on. It was magical. Dude,
that
Goofy
memory
movie.
stands out, Andrew.
Yes, dude,
I had
it's
to.
great. Solid flick.
Yeah. So that's
right,
pretty much it.
Well, Nick, I know we've intermingled the Disney talk and the music talk so far, and we know a little bit about your background with like the parks and stuff like that, and how you really got into Disney. Basically, you were a Disney baby who
I was. Yeah.
had it as your playground in your backyard.
I was, yeah. I grew up in Miami, Florida, and so we were only a few hours away from the park. So I grew up an annual pass holder, and we would go like 4 or 5 times a year, just
Epic.
always there. We had a motorhome, so we would stay at Fort Wilderness Campground for like weeks at a time, sometimes over the summer, and it was just some defining moments of my life for just growing up in Disney World and just being there for a
Dude,
lot
I
of
didn't
it.
realize you were there for weeks at a time.
Dude, yeah, there were times when we stayed at Fort Wilderness. It was super cheap back in the day, man. In our RV, about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and just be there all the time. When I
That's
told you
insane.
that I would go there all the
Like,
time,
it
that's
also includes
literally
park
what I
hopping
meant,
too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just
Oh, and sometimes we would go days without going to the parks at all, because that's the beauty of Fort Wilderness and Walt Disney World, is that you can do all this other
excuse
extracurricular
me.
activities.
being
know?
at Disney World, and I don't even need to go to the parks.
The life of an
Andy-
annual pass holder, man.
Andy, did you learn something new about Nick today?
I knew about his annual pass holderiness. I knew about him going and living in Miami, growing up as a kid. But dude, I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom like just like
A lot of bike rides through Fort Wilderness, man. It's good times, really good times.
that's cool. That's cool.
So Andy, what's your Disney story? Like how have
Yeah,
you
man.
gotten into
Big stuff. Not quite like Nick, but like my family had the every other year mentality of Disney World. So like we would go to Disney World every other year. And so pretty much for my entire life, we went every other year. And then so I was there pretty frequently. So I grew up seeing all the changes. I grew up, I grew up rope dropping. I grew up, the works. I love Disney movies. I'm a huge nerd. And I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. And I was a huge Star Wars nerd before Star Wars was even purchased by Disney. So that, and then superheroes and just all of the fantasy that it brings. And then the big thing is I met my wife. And when I met my wife, our big thing was like, I was like, hey, what do you like to do for vacationing? What's your vibe? Are you like, let's go to the beach and chill? Are we gonna go to Vegas? Like, what's our thing? And she's like, my family and I grew up going to Disney World, and then that was like, yep, that's awesome. So
Disney
like the
wife,
first,
happy life, man.
yeah,
I got one
man.
too.
So like
I got
the
a Disney
first
wife
four,
too.
like within the first 4 months of us dating, we did a solo trip, just the two of us to Disney World. And that's like, I've said it on the podcast before, that's where we fell in love. Like we fell in love in Disney. And ever since, we've adopted like the every other year mentality, honestly trying to go even more if we can, now that I've got kids and it's they're doing it right. There's my oldest daughter is just now starting to really get it. And I mean, you get it, right, Chris? Like just like when you see your kids and how much fun they're having, and it's fun for you to have it too. And this is something that Nick and I talk about a lot. You know, yes, I have kids, but Nick and I still like Disney outside of children, right? Like it's still something that's like Nick and I share as our, big part of our friendship and just part of who we are. Yeah, man. So I love Disney. It's fun. And then my big thing too is I love the parks, and just like Nick, above everything else, the parks is what stands out to me the most. And I have the most cathartic relationship with is the parks, and my wife too. And, that's why it's fun to pod. It's fun to talk about. We can just BS about it for hours.
Yeah, I think every Disney fan has their in, and I think what makes Andy and I work as a podcast duo and as friends is that our both of us is the parks, and it's just that and Disneyland. Like you said earlier, I'll be going to Disneyland next month. So I go to Disney World way more often than Disneyland, honestly, but trying to do that California thing more often,
It's cool.
Disneyland is so beautiful.
Chris, where are you at? You're East Coast?
Yeah, I'm in Massachusetts. So
okay, cool.
we're so my story is a little bit I grew up really in that time where like the Renaissance was happening. You had Aladdin, The Lion King, these classic movies, and so I was really into it then. And then I grew up and got cool, and like it was just like, well,
at one point.
and it wasn't so much that I was just like, oh, it just wasn't on my radar, and then
Right.
then I met my wife, and she was a big Disney fan. And when I was growing up, we had gone to the parks a few times over my life. We'd gone to Walt Disney World. I've never been to. My mother swears that I've been to Disneyland, but I have no conscious memory of it.
You haven't been.
Just go with it. Just go with
new era Disney.
But either way,
after Baby Yoda.
My wife and I came at it from two different aspects, where she always had this Disney presence in her house, and that she was always a part of, because she's also the oldest of 6. So, it's always been present, and she always loved it. But the first time that she went to a Disney park, she was 20 years old. 20? Yeah, 20 years old. Whereas I had been as a kid. So we were coming at it from two different angles. And
Totally.
So when she said to me, when we got married and we were planning our wedding, she said, "Hey, for a honeymoon, can we go to Disney World?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, that'll be fun." Yeah, because I'm not a beach guy. I spent an hour on a beach, and I'm just like, all right,
what's next? Right? Yeah.
no, yeah. So we went, and it was, I awesome. Fell in love with it all over again, and now we're Disney Vacation Club members. So
jealous.
We usually go every year. We're taking a break this year because we're taking a Disney cruise.
Ooh,
nice.
We're going on the Destiny.
Oh, sick,
so
dude!
We're next February. We're going on the Destiny, so we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So. And then later that year, it's actually we're celebrating a birthday, my wife's birthday, and our 15th anniversary. So
Yay.
I'm taking her to Paris, and I'm going to have gone to Disneyland Paris before I'd been to Disneyland.
Man,
that's still cool though, man.
That's sick.
So, so even, I had planned this trip. Her family's like 100% Irish. So I planned this trip that was just like, all right, we're going to go to Ireland. I was just like, what if we made a stop in Paris too. They're not exactly next to each other, but
Yeah,
and
man, it's
but we
Europe.
finagled it so it works. So
That works, man.
It's 30 minutes away. It's 30 minute
Yeah,
flight.
you know,
whatever.
why not?
so had to slide some kind of Disney in there one way or
Of
the other.
course.
The fact that it's going to be, I think, 2 years between trips for my daughter, who's 7, is she'll be 9 the next time that we go, is kind of like we're both like kind of feeling bad for her about that, and we're just like, wait a minute, this isn't normal.
As someone who's never done a Disney cruise, and we'll have a big gap in between going to parks, you still get the Disney vibe and the Disney magic on a cruise.
Yeah.
Just yes. Like you, while we were there, I was like, oh my God, I feel like we're in Disney World right now. Like you feel like you're there. So that it does satisfy it a little bit. Not fully, but a little bit.
We did one other Disney cruise a couple of years ago.
Okay.
What ship were you guys on?
I did Disney Magic because it docks out of Galveston.
Yeah.
For my honeymoon, actually, we went on the Disney Dream, and it was spectacular.
Oh, I bet it was
Beautiful.
Oh, so
Yeah, our first trip we did the Wish. So it was the first one in that class. It was really I got a great appreciation for that ship actually after when we got back. Because the Making of the Wish documentary that's on Disney Plus showed how this whole thing got put together, and of course it was COVID and everything, and it's just so fascinating how this ship is literally crossing the Atlantic while they're building it, like building the inside.
Crazy.
It's just wild to me, and all the little touches that make the magic of the cruise. It's so great. The last time
Magic. Oh, sorry, man, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. The last time that we did the cruise, we had flown into Orlando, so we did Magic Kingdom Day anyway. So this will be the first time that we're not doing anything because we're sailing this time out of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, Disney Cruise, you definitely get the magic from that. I will say it'll be a little while between your Walt Disney World trips. Have you already said goodbye to the Muppets and the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island? Have you made your peace with not seeing that again?
We did. We went in February this year, and we did say goodbye to the Muppets. The Muppets are the one that I'm really going to.
Yeah,
I'm
that one
I'm
stung.
gonna miss
That one stung the most.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
And
it was Jim Henson's last project, dude. Like, that's history.
Yep. And I mean, I'm 40, so I still remember, there was still some classic Muppet show, floating around on TV when I was a kid. So going back to that, and I'm thinking about some of the more classic things and how it rolled into Disney, and Disney did some really great stuff early on, but I felt like Disney just wasn't able to keep the momentum with the Muppets.
Yeah, that Jason Segel movie was flawless, though. Yeah,
the Jason Segel movie was flawless, but they didn't keep that.
But they didn't
vibe.
keep it up. They didn't keep
that vibe for
whatever
weird
I'm gonna have to.
That weird like Office show was just like
it was
a
miss.
Terrible. Those weird sequels, Ricky Gervais,
Disney doesn't know what to do with it. The best thing Disney did, honestly, was Muppets Haunted Mansion.
That was great.
That was the best.
I like that a lot. That's the most that I've laughed at a Muppets presentation.
Yeah,
outside of Muppet Vision 3D in a long time.
If Disney would do more of those like attraction parodies with the Muppets, dude, that's a gold mine. Just do all the rides. Just do them all.
I've got to go back and watch that Jason Segel movie again because I watched about 10 minutes of it and I walked away from it the first time. Like I guess I didn't really give it a real shot. It was one of those things that
good.
I was probably up late looking for something, but
I think you can really tell
tears at the end.
Yeah, I think you can really tell how much Jason Segel loves the Muppets. It was a love letter to the Muppets, and it was just such a beautiful movie. Go back and watch it.
I'll have to give it another try.
And I don't know if you're a fan of Flight of the Conchords, but like one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords wrote all the songs, all the lyrics, and so
nice.
The songs are really kooky.
Man or Muppet,
yeah,
so good. I
He
think
won an
it's
Oscar. It won an Oscar for best original song.
it's funny, Maza, that we're on your show and we're giving you homework. Go watch
Yeah.
a Goofy movie.
Yeah,
Go
there you
watch
go,
the
dude.
Muppets.
Watch the Muppets. Watch a Goofy
Honestly.
movie.
Hey, and I love it because one thing that I always tell people, people say, "Oh yeah, Chris is a Disney expert," and I'm just like, I'm not an expert. I'm an enthusiast. So most of the time,
There's
like,
a
I have people
difference.
on where I'm going to learn something, and you guys
Right.
are learning me a thing or two.
No, man,
about
and
it.
then to be completely fair, that's another reason why Nick and I work, because Nick is the expert. I am the enthusiast who maybe just
Yeah.
knows a little bit more than the average enthusiast, but I feel like I represent the common man a little bit more in our podcast.
My passion, when I started Mickey and Minutes, has always been Disney history. Some of my favorite Disney podcasts has always been history podcasts. And anybody can deliver the news and talk about the news, which we do. We have a show called Mid Mondays that we do every Monday where we deliver the news and talk about it. It's live on Instagram. But my thing has always been Disney history, and so I just do a lot of research and watch all the documentaries I can find and just soak it up. And that was it's always been one of the things that I want to contribute to the Disney community is history. And then when I got Andy on board, we made it more conversational. So now I get to talk about the history, and Andy will chime in with what he knows, and it just makes a really fun dynamic. But history, man, that's my thing.
Yeah, I do like
and
that.
I really
Validates
enjoyed the Dino Land.
Thank you.
Now, have you done a second one?
The second one
yet, or is it?
Dude, the second one drops tomorrow, bro.
Awesome.
Tomorrow, Dismantling Dino Land Part 2. Tomorrow.
Yeah. A lot of that, like, seriously, I didn't realize a lot of that, so it really gave me a greater appreciation. I never some people are just like, oh, this is kind of campy, and it's kind of it doesn't fit with the rest of it. But understanding that there's a story behind it, that there is a true story behind that entire land and the way that it was laid out gave me just a whole new appreciation for it. I always liked it. I was heartbroken when Primeval World was shut down. That was one of those just kind of stupid fun rides. A little bit of a chiropractic procedure there. But
and I think that's the thing. That's the thing that separates Disney from other amusement parks, honestly, and what makes us as Disney be Disney fans and not just theme park fans or amusement park fans is Disney really takes the time to make everything matter, every single detail matter. So like you said, something as campy as Dino Land USA, looking at it, it's a little carnival area, there's a story and there's a reason why everything looks the way that it does, and then other theme parks have started to follow suit. Epic Universe, for one, is where Universal is really diving into the detail. They did so with the Harry Potter lands and stuff, and storytelling. Exactly, yeah. But with Disney history, you start to realize that Disney was always very intentional about storytelling, because Disney is a storytelling company at their heart, And
listen to our Lorcana episodes. Nick goes into all the storytelling in Lorcana.
Dude, yeah,
right?
Mazda,
same kind of deal.
Do you play Lorcana, dude?
I don't. I'm kind of unfamiliar with the. I get the gist of it, but So I'm from an era when like Magic the Gathering was like huge, and so I did play Magic the Gathering, but I gather that this has much more of a like that storytelling that you're talking about.
There's a lot of
Disney element to it, yes.
And that's the thing.
Magic's got lore too. Magic's got a lot of lore too.
It does, but it's different when it's Disney,
With Lorcana, what's cool about it is you can play just as like a trading card game, or you could dive into the story, And again, that's where Disney thrives. And with same thing with the theme parks, you can take it or leave it. You can go to Dino Land or any other part of Disney World and just go and ride the rides and go to the next ride. And it could just be a ride to you, or you could, dive into the story, and same thing with Lorcana. So if you played Magic, man, I say get into Lorcana, dude.
It's fun.
Right, I'll give it a look. Yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything. I'll give anything a try once, certainly.
Yeah.
All right. So, one other thing that I wanted to dive into now, usually in my episode or in my episodes, if there's a Disney theme to the episode, I don't do this separate segment, but I'm gonna do it because I've got two guys here who are enthusiastic about Disney and music. So I do this segment. Usually it's in podcasts that aren't Disney related because I have to stick some Disney in there at some point, and it's Maz's Mickey Minute.
Nice. Yes.
All right, so we're gonna do the Maz's Mickey Minute, and we're gonna talk about our favorite Disney music, like our favorite Disney songs. They can be, you know, when I was going through this, I was going through things from the movies, things from rides, just whatever, it could be, the background music that's playing at Fort Wilderness. Who cares? Whatever's floating your boat. And of course, I have my own little jingle for the Maz's Mickey Minute. So we'll just.
Donald, wake up! It's showtime! Don't forget the orchestra.
Ah, there you are. And just in time.
Mom says there's even more magical stuff now.
For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the doors.
Hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
And here we go!
That last
Dude.
noise was very triggering.
That's just
great way.
You just warmed my heart. Can we hear that 39 more times?
Yeah, roll it again. Roll it back.
Bring it back, dude. All the feels. Yes, man. I remind, dude, like in the old Mickey and Minutes podcast, I would do like these little intros with like sound effects and stuff from the parks. I just,
very
you took me back,
reminiscent of that.
dude.
Yeah,
Love it.
I think that the one that was that some people are like, what is that? Is like the little girl saying, there's even more magic now, and that's from like an old like 90s Disney World commercial, where the kids are sneaking into each other's room to talk about it, and the mom comes in and tells them to go to sleep, and I'm too excited to sleep. And then it goes into the little sales speech, and then afterwards, like, she gets back in the bed, and husband's in bed, and she's like, are you asleep? He's like, no, I'm too excited. and that's me every trip.
Dude, I remember that, actually. That's so funny. Yes. So good.
So all right. So we'll go into what are some of like when you think of like quintessential Disney movies, when you're music, when you're listening to Disney music, what's your go-tos? What are the things that you're just like, I need Disney feels right now? I'm putting this on.
Dude, I think for me is actually the song that we decided to cover as Hi Dad Soup first is, my all-time favorite Disney song, and that is Go the Distance from Hercules. That song is just beautiful, and it brings all the feels. It's that, that triumphant, I'm on my way, and it's so amazing. And every time it shows up in any Disney production, a fireworks show, whatever, that gets me, dude.
Love it. For me, although my favorite Disney song is Oodalolly, just because it's Roger Miller being a folk playing rooster. Come on, it's just the song is absolute perfection. If I need like a dose of Disney, I'm going a little bit new school, and I blast Coco songs like Poco Loco or Remember Me, but mostly Poco Loco. But yeah, I love. A Disney movie about a little Mexican boy playing guitar. That hits me. That hits me right in the feels.
It's basically about Andy Goots.
Yeah. And it's also, I love it because in my opinion, it's Disney saying like, oh, the Mexicans got it right about what happens after you die. Like they got it. Like the Mexicans, they're right.
I think also like if that's my Disney movie song, Go the Distance. If I'm thinking parks, man, if I want to get those park feels, dude.
Yeah, good question.
Dude, Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, Sherman Brothers.
You love Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow.
Dude, yes. We've been talking about covering that one for a long time, actually.
Yes,
we have. It'll probably happen eventually. But that Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, just anything Sherman Brothers, really. But that song, just the optimism of Walt Disney, and because the Sherman Brothers have admitted that, that song was written for the Carousel of Progress, but they wrote it about Walt Disney, and his optimism and futurism. And it's just such an amazing song that just takes me back, which is what's funny though, is that, my generation growing up in Disney World and seeing the Carousel of Progress, it wasn't that song, it was a different song. It was Now Is the Time. Sherman Brothers wrote that song also, and they changed it over when they brought it to Walt Disney World. And then it was only relatively recently that they changed it back to Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow.
Wow.
I know that.
Disney history, guys.
There it is. There it is, man. There it is. Classic. Classic.
Just an absolute font of information
spoiler.
here.
The more you know.
History, Nick.
Beep. We need a jingle.
So I gotta say that my wife and I are runners. Like, we did the Run Disney thing. We did the Fairy Tale
Neat.
Challenge on Princess Weekend once. And one of the songs, just thinking about park music, that would just like get me going and get me in a good rhythm and a good pace. And it's also like, it stretches for like 9 minutes, was the test track cue music.
Like the original one or the second one?
The original one.
Dude, yes. That's
It
like,
just-
yeah.
It would just, it was just, especially, for the pace that I also move at, which is not especially fast, but it just hit the right place where I could find a good pace and just like kind of roll for,
Dude, that's awesome.
I love how niche that is.
Yeah, I love that you're the guy who loves the test track
song.
songs, like music. That's the best, dude. You rule. That's awesome.
All right. The ride that breaks down the most often at Epcot, the cue music for that ride. Amazing.
I think it's because it's
Really
breaking down so you're in the queue forever.
Yeah.
That's true. That's right. It
just
broken
gets in
down,
your brain.
and you're just hanging out and waiting. It needs to be motivating to get you to stay there.
I'm
keep
curious if the new test track that opens really soon, if it's going to have any like remnants of the old cue music at all.
Oh,
if
you know
it's gonna change
there'll
it
be
completely.
Easter eggs.
I hope
cue
so.
music. Oh, I don't know.
The cue music, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Now every time I hear that music, I'm going to think of Chris Mazza.
I gotta look it up. after this. Yeah,
Dude, it's good.
I need a refresher.
I had the Disney World like CD, and it had the test track music on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
That's actually like I actually found it like it's on Spotify, I think. I found it somewhere and I was just like, oh, this is getting added to the playlist, and it was one of the streaming services I was
so good, dude.
Yeah, it showed what it was from, and it was from that Disney CD. So yeah, I've got a deep cut for you here too. So it's from Treasure Planet.
Ooh, yes.
So there's a song, I'm Still Here, which was written and performed by John Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yes.
And a little bit of this is because the Goo Goo Dolls are my favorite band. I started listening to them in the early 90s. They were, kind of, some people knocked them in the early 90s as kind of like a Replacements knockoff. But I don't care. It was some good, 90s guitar rock, and
yes.
And so that this was more once John Resnick was getting more into getting into his songwriting groove. He had a couple of the top 40 hits, and they asked him to write this song. What I love about this song is it fits so well with the movie as like just such a coming of age kind of tune. One of the things that I love about the music is there's a little bit of angst to it, but also it's almost a kind of defiant and hopeful message to the whole thing. So if you haven't listened to it in a while, I recommend going back and listening to it. There's a little bit of that, Disney kind of, I'm not a musician, so I don't know what goes into the editing and stuff like that. But you can
Disney
tell
magic,
that
bro.
it's been
Just
played
the
with
Disney
a little
magic.
bit, you
That's
know?
all it
It's
is.
magic. It's what it is. Dude, that movie is so good.
Yeah,
and
just
so
in general,
underrated.
is.
rewatch a rewatch of Treasure Planet is
I think
needed as what just of the whole movie.
A couple of days ago, man, we were on our Mid Monday live, and we were talking about Lilo and Stitch, the newest live action Disney remake.
That's right, we
And
were
I was
talking
saying, dude, in this world of live action remakes, there are some movies that need to get remade because they're the ones that I think would really strive as live action. Treasure Planet, Atlantis, like those were some of the movies that I brought up as well.
Should we do a series, Nick, on just like our breakdown of those movies on why they just similar
why
to the
they
Goofy
should
movie,
be,
but why they also should be remade to live action?
Absolutely, and maybe we should cover the Goo Goo Dolls song with the High Dad Soup one day. That'd be sick.
Chris, lay down the vocals, man.
So one last thing, of course, villains are becoming a very big thing at the
Big
parks.
time.
I've got the new show. There's the new land that's going to happen eventually. It took them how many years to build
6
Tron?
years.
So
To build
Hey, we're optimistic, man. We're optimistic. COVID happened in there, right?
But
That's true.
Universal built a whole theme park in that time. Whatever.
We don't.
but yeah, so I'm interested. What's your favorite villain song?
Ooh, that's a good one. Dang. All right, the first one that comes to my mind is Jeremy Irons. The Scar song.
I knew it,
Dude. Yeah. A fun fact about that song, dude, is that Jeremy
be prepared?
Irons. Yeah, be prepared. Jeremy Irons got sick during the recording of that song, so they had to have somebody else do some of the verses. And
I know this.
All right, go ahead, say it. No.
I don't know his name, but the guy
Jim
who voiced
Cummings.
Pumbaa finished it off for him.
Well, no, it was Jim Cummings, the guy who did Winnie the Pooh.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought
it was
I
the
heard
voice
that was
of
the
Winnie
guy
the
who
Pooh.
did. Oh wow!
Yeah.
See, I had been
So,
told that the guy who did
tremendous
Pumbaa,
voice
finished it
actor.
off.
Yeah.
Wow.
All
All right, so I didn't know that. I'm learning things
half
left
knew
and
it.
right.
You
Wow.
half knew it.
Man.
I knew the wrong half.
Andy's like, oh, I'll pretend like I knew it.
No, man. This whole time I've just been thinking about who's my choice of Disney villain? The Barracuda in the beginning of Finding Nemo.
Does he have a song?
I'm joking. I think from an iconic Disney villain perspective. Oh, dude, I don't know, man. This is
There's
hard.
so many great villain songs, dude.
I know. I'm going. For some reason, I'm thinking of the Sheriff of Nottingham, but he's not really traditional. He's not a traditional Disney villain. Ursula.
I had a feeling you were
Ursula.
going to go with Ursula.
Yeah.
Ursula.
That's a really great song.
Ursula. I like OG Ursula. I also am not. I'm okay with Melissa McCarthy's Ursula too. She did a pretty good job. Her singing wasn't bad either. But just Ursula as a character, the Sea Witch. Also too, as a kid, she was just the right amount of scary for me as a kid to watch a cartoon, right? Because Beauty and the Beast scared the bejesus out of me, and Beast was the good guy.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know if I would say that Scar is my favorite Disney villain, but that song is my favorite Disney villain
Be
song.
prepared.
I think that was the original question, right? Favorite Disney
Yeah.
villain song?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, Disney villain song? That was the question?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, Ursula's still got.
It's
I mean,
okay. That's a
great
great song. That's a
Poor,
great song.
Poor Unfortunate Souls is a fantastic song. Oh, but Disney villain song, bro.
I'm with you on. Go ahead.
Jack Skellington doesn't count as a Disney villain, though.
He's the good guy in that movie.
He is a good guy.
He's the protagonist of that movie. Maybe a bit of an
The
anti-hero.
Oogie Boogie
but-
song.
Okay, yeah.
Boom. That's it, man. Oogie Boogie song was where he's just torturing Santa Claus. Yeah.
I've always said that Michael Bublé should cover the Oogie Boogie song.
Yes,
That's like a
yes.
dream cover of mine. Let's just wish that into existence. Michael Bublé, if you're listening
Friend of
to
the
the
pod, friend of
Mazda
the pod.
Music's podcast.
If that's happening, we got a couple other things to talk about first.
Yeah, there we go. Please
Our
sign
clout
us.
just
Michael Bublé.
skyrocketed, all of us. Let's go check our Instagram follower account.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Be Prepared. I mean, to me, that is like the quintessential villain song.
Dude, so
Another one that I don't know if it's quite a villain song, but it's certainly villain adjacent is Kill the Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
That's a great song.
Kill the Beast.
Yeah.
It's
I guess it's kind of like
also a good running song.
Yeah. When you're holding a torch.
Gaston's namesake tavern song. No one's winner.
That's kind of a villain song. It's a song about the villain.
It is. Yeah,
it's a villain song. That counts.
It's not a bad one.
That totally counts.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you for indulging me in the Mazza's Mickey Minute.
Absolutely.
Well, I can't do any more damage around this popsicle stand.
So long, partner.
See you real soon.
So long, partner. We all know. We don't need to say it. We don't need to say it, but we know.
Well, folks, thank you everybody who tuned into this. Thank you guys for being here. Now we are running short on time. I am also old, so I am up way past my bedtime. So, and the 7-year-old will wait for no one in the morning. So I've got to sign off. But before I do, I'd love to give you guys the opportunity to let people know where they can find you. We already talked about some of the cool things that are coming up, but anything you want to highlight, the floor is yours.
Yeah, guys. Thanks again for listening, and thanks Mazza for having us on this show. This has been so fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, check out the Mickey and Minutes podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Check us out on Mim Mondays. That's our live show every Monday on Instagram at 8 p.m. Central Time. We talk about the news, and we want you to join us on that to help us make Mondays magical. And check out Hi Dad Soup. That's our music project, our Disney cover band. You can find us at mickeyandminutes.weebly.com or on the Mickey and Minutes Instagram page or on SoundCloud. Just look up Hi Dad Soup. You can find our Disney covers there.
We got next week 2 weeks on the 20th Standout cover coming out. Another pop punk one. It's gonna be it's gonna slap. It's gonna be a banger. And then also follow Nick and I on Instagram at our personal accounts or our personal Mickey and Minutes accounts at Nick and Minutes and at Andy and Minutes. Just give us a shout. Say what up. We're always here to say hey.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, and I hope you guys will indulge me one more time. I know, Nick, you were talking with Chelsea recently about how she is the planner and how she loves her Disney planning. But let me tell you, if you guys ever choose to take a break, or anybody out there who's listening who isn't much of a planner, they should definitely go check out We Do Travel Right, which my friend Emily and her team do a great job finding you if there are any deals out there. They also know the ins and outs of, there are a million apps and there are a million ways to get around the parks and things like that, and they'll help you out with that. They actually have a specialized dining team that takes care of all the reservations for you. Listen, there was one time that I was up at 6 a.m. on Christmas Day. I was up at 5:30 so that I could be ready, for my, because that's when the 60-day window opened up for me.
Priorities.
And that was about the time that I was just like, you know what? I'm okay with not doing this. So if anybody out there listening is looking for their next magical Disney trip, they can go to wedotravelright.com/Mazza, and you'll fill out a little form. Somebody will be in contact with you. You'll have one-on-one, service of an agent, and it's all free. That's the cool thing about it is Disney or all of the places, whether it's Universal, Disney, cruises, whatever, they are charging you for using an agent, whether you're using that agent or not. So once again, anybody interested, wedotravelright.com/Mazza. And Emily and her team will take really good care of you. All right. Well, thank you guys for indulging me in that. And now we will all indulge ourselves in one more time listening to the new theme brought to you. Thank you very much. Hi Dad Soup.
Mad
Thanks, guys. When I am awake at 2 o'clock in the morning, not able to sleep, I know what's going to be stuck in my head.
You got it. This was
Love
awesome.
it, man.